I don't like it. I don't like it's really upsetting because it's this, I really do feel like this is animal abuse. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to think about my trucks being on the road. What's up, Scoop Podcast? I'm your host, Erica Crouppen, and on today's episode, I'm going to answer your questions again. It's the Wednesday episode, and last week the episode did really, really well on the audio podcast and on YouTube. So if you are listening to this on audio and you have a specific question that you would like an answer to and get my insight on, head over to YouTube and type a question underneath the video. We decided last Tuesday, me and my social media VA, that this is how we're going to do these videos. We're going to look at the previous week, see what questions were asked and the ones prior, if there was anything new, then that will guide what the next Wednesday episode is going to be about. On YouTube, obviously, they want me to respond back to comments writtenly. I don't like it. I don't like to write. That's the reason why I do video, because I'm not very good at writing. I'll do it. I've done it. I engage over there, but sometimes it's just really hard for me to get everything across that I want to get across in written form. So that's a big reason of why I've started doing video. So I appreciate you hanging out with me, and just know that these are just my thoughts. And for those of you that are new, my name is Erica Crouppen, and I'm the owner of Crouppen's Poopin' Scoopin'. I've been in business for a little over 6 years. We're going on our 7th year. And on this channel and on the podcast, I just give you my viewpoint and what I think. And just know that as time goes on and when I learn things and I get to a new level in business, mindsets change, as they should, right? Because you only know what you know. And then when you learn new things, then what is it? What they say, like hindsight's 20/20 type deal? Well, that's basically how it is. So if you're watching an older video and I said something, right? And then now I'm saying something different. Well, I'm in a different stage of business. I've learned new things. And so that's why it's good to stay up to date, hit the subscribe button, make sure you're following, and let's have some conversations. Because what I'm learning is that, like, a lot of new people are coming into the industry. They have experience, they've done things differently, and they're expressing how they do things. And I love that. I love that there's different ways to do business. And I'm constantly learning all the time. I'm just amazed with a lot of the new people that I'm seeing coming into the industry and how their social medias are looking and how they're gaining customers so quickly. You know, it was just a lot different 6-7 years ago. And it was a lot different 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like when Jim, Mr. King of Poo, when he started his business, it was a lot different. When Jessica from Paws to Bark, she started her business, she was nailing flyers on posts. She didn't even have a cell phone. She had to run home and check her answering machine at home. So times are a lot different, right? And so I just want to get into this and answer your guys' question. If you have not subscribed yet, and if you want to, please do hang out with me. Subscribe, engage, and I'm going to do my darndest to answer your questions. In this podcast, we're going to talk about pricing, pay, weekend work, visiting every client's yard first before we scoop, ScoopCon, and deodorizing. Let's get into it. All right, question. Do I list my prices in Jobber or quote per request? That was a question that was over on the YouTube. So basically with Jobber, if you don't know what it is I don't think we're calling it a CRM anymore, but I'm old school, so I keep calling it a CRM. I got to figure out what they're calling it now. But it's a system for a business that I run my entire business. This is where I do my routing, my invoicing, my customer communication. Everything is housed within Jobber. There's no more paper, writing customers' information down on paper. I don't do an Excel spreadsheet. Everything is in the system. I mean, I still write notes down on paper and Post-it notes, but for the most part, if it needs to be documented, it's going inside of Jobber. And within their quoting software where you can send out invoices, you can manually type in your prices. There's like a line item and then a description, and then you can put your price. So you can manually do that for every customer. Here's the thing. We're such high volume that I have found it better to create templates. Templates is a new thing in Jobber where it's already built out. It has all the verbiage in there that needs to be in there. It's a templated invoice where it has the pictures uploaded that I want uploaded. It has the disclaimer, it has the line item, it has all the information, and I have all that built out. And right now at the time of this recording, I believe you can have 30 templated invoices for different services or different, not services, but say for instance, if it's an initial cleaning one time, that wouldn't be an initial cleaning. It'd be a seasonal cleaning one time, or a seasonal cleaning that's an initial. An initial means that they're going to sign up for reoccurring service. So I would say initial cleaning to weekly service. And then I would have that built out. Jobber has that, and then it also has product and services in the settings where you can build out all of your line items. It could say weekly service, small yard, 1 dog, $20. Weekly service, small yard, 2 dogs, $23. Whatever, if you're pricing per week. You put in your pricing. You price it per month, you can price it per visit, and you can build all of that out. So having said that, you can do it manually every time, or you can take the time, take a weekend, take a slow time. I think I did mine in the winter when it got a little bit slow. And then my virtual assistant actually built out an entire Excel spreadsheet with everything in there, and then I just had to do one click and it updated everything. That was fancy. That was really fancy, and I really liked that. I was not capable of doing that because I don't know how to build out an Excel spreadsheet. I have no idea. If you have not checked Jobber out and you're interested in learning more, click my link down in the description. You can get a 14-day free trial. I love Jobber. I've been using Jobber for quite some time. I want to say it's over 5 years at this point. I actually need to look and see when I signed up with them so I have exact data, but I want to say it was around COVID or maybe before COVID. It's been quite some time. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Next question, how do I pay my scoopers and why not work weekends? This is a really good question. Okay, so average pay structure, I think it really depends on how much does your business make, right? When I first started, I was only able to pay my girl $10 an hour. You think she was on payroll? No, she wasn't on payroll. You wanna know why? Because I was collecting money via Venmo, Cash App, check, cash. How else were people paying me? I think that's how it started. And then eventually I figured out another credit card processor and I used that, but I didn't really understand it very much and it was a little bit difficult. So I was paying them $10 an hour cash, and that's all I could afford. And then I worked my way up to be able to pay $12 an hour. And then I worked my way up to be able to pay $14 an hour, and then $15 an hour, and then all the way up to $20 an hour. This all comes down to your pricing, and it all comes down to how much is your business producing. You can have lower pricing if you're able to crank out jobs quicker, right? So say for instance, if you have small yards and they're tightly routed and they're a lower price, like say if you're charging like $13 a stop or $12 a stop or something like that, something crazy low, but you're able to get 6 done an hour, that's still good money, right? I mean, it's decent money. Versus if you're charging $20 or $25 or $28 per stop and you're only able to do 3 houses an hour because they're larger yards, there's more drive time, whatever the situation is. So you really need to look at that, and you have to look to see how much you can afford to pay when you're paying into taxes for them and Social Security, and then your insurance, your workman's comp, all of that stuff, unemployment, all of that stuff comes into play. When I start somebody off training, I'm paying them $15 an hour on check. They will stay at $15 an hour for 90 days because that is their training. Yes, they can scoop a yard. Within like a week or 2, they should have a good groove going, right? Like they understand the yards, they understand what they're doing, but it takes some time to build confidence and it takes time to build speed. Okay, I want them to ask all the questions. I want them to question why we do things this way because I want them to understand. And every time you bring somebody in, from my experience, I've realized that we could be doing something different, because that's the awesome thing about building a team and having different mindsets in is when I'm creating these procedures and I'm creating the notes, it makes sense to my brain, but not everybody has my brain, not everybody has my personality type. So having them ask questions and explain it and have those conversations, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I see why that doesn't make sense to you. Let's make that better so it makes more sense. It's not short code because my brain is not super analytical, right? So I miss some details. But then I get some people in that are very detail oriented, which is really good for a scooper because you want to make sure that they're focused and that they're paying attention. So I want them to go at a moderate pace. I want them to gain confidence, and I want them to get faster over time. So there's this balance where I want their speed to go up, but I don't want their quality to drop. And if the quality is dropping, then their speed needs to go down. So we're doing this dance. And if you're looking over on YouTube, I'm kind of like moving my hands up and down, and I'm like moving them up. By the 90-day, they should like feel very confident. Like it should be natural, like a nice dance where they get to a house, they pull their bucket out, they put their bag on, they send the, they're sending the on the way text message, they're scooping the yard. They know what to do. Like it's not autopilot, but kind of, right? It's just, you're locked in type deal. And at the end of the 90 days, they either get a raise or they don't have a job. And I didn't come up with this. I was at a convention, some type of seminar, and one of the guys that owns like a big business, I heard him say that, and that really stuck with me. He says they put him through a training process, and at the end of the 90 days, the person either has a job or they don't. And during this 90 days, like I'm working with them, I'm coaching them, I'm talking to them, because everybody has issues. Everybody has stuff going on. It's just a matter of, can we work through those issues, and is it going to impact the business? I am being very like people focused, because going to these events and going to these speeches, the leaders that focus on the people are the ones that have some of the biggest businesses. And that's something that I really lacked. I lacked the coaching, I lacked the communication, the really investing into people. I don't know what was going on, but I really lacked that. So this time around, I'm being much different. That's why we have team meetings on Fridays. We do donuts and coffee. I want to know their birthdays because I want to be able to celebrate their birthday with them. I want to know what their goals are. So then that way I know what they're trying to achieve. So when I'm feeling like lazy and I don't want to do stuff and maybe things are going real smooth and I lose sight of stuff, sometimes I can focus like, okay, this is what their goals are. Keep going, Erica. So that is, that kind of got off on a tangent about the pay. But having said that, I work my way up to, I want to be able to pay like my lead technician $20 an hour, and they're handling stuff, right? I'm not getting calls at this point. Unless it's like a big deal, unless there's like big deal issues. We're talking where insurance needs to be called, dog bites, customers like losing their mind. The $20 an hour employee is communicating with the other technician and taking on all of that, like that stress and all of that stuff. There's really not that much stress, to be quite honest. I mean, it ebbs and flows. Don't get me wrong. We have our good days. We have our bad days. We have our good weeks and bad weeks. But they're absorbing that for me. But you also have to figure out cost of living. What your minimum wage is. Also, what is a livable wage where you're living. Take all that into consideration and pay your employees. And I would say try to pay them well. Don't try to underpay them, because if you take good care of them, they're going to take good care of you. And always give your technician their tips. Don't keep their tips. Give them their tips. The other part of this question is, why don't I work weekends? We do sometimes work weekends, but I'm not scheduling regular routes on weekends. Mainly because I do want a work-life balance, not only for myself, but also for my staff. Most of the people that I have hired, they have lives outside of work. They want to be able to do stuff on the weekends. And if they want to go to church, I want them to be able to go to church. If they want to go to their kids' baseball game, football game, or go to the movies, I want them to be able to do that. And the business is still small to where I don't have a field like leader yet, because I don't have 6 scoopers. If I had 6 scoopers, then I would have somebody in place that would be like a lead technician that would be like overseeing them. Maybe at like 3 scoopers. I don't have that yet. So if somebody calls in on a Saturday, I'm going to have to go out and scoop. And I don't want to have to go out and scoop. I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to think about my trucks being on the road. I don't want to have to think about dog bites. I don't want to think about car accidents. I just want to be able to enjoy time with my family, zone out if I want to zone out, go to church, meal prep, just anything but work. Because I have an obsessive personality and I will be on high alert. I, by nature, have anxiety. And this is just a me thing, right? I know there's other people with mindsets that's not a big deal and they work on the weekends. I don't want it. I don't want to have to work on the weekends. And when I got bit by a dog the first time, it was on a freaking Saturday that I was working, and I was like, no, I'm done here. Because kids are home, families are hanging out in their backyard, they're barbecuing, you can smell their food, it smells delicious, and you're like, oh, I gotta scoop all these stupid yards. And it's like, if you hire people, do they want to go to the lake? Do they want to go hang out with family? Do they want to take a long weekend? But then you get people that maybe want to work weekends. That's all they can work. Having said that, do what's best for who you're going to hire and what's best for your business. I have just found that Monday through Friday is the way to go. And then Saturday and Sunday are overflow days. We can do one-time cleans. We can do catch-up, depending on who I can get work on that Saturday. And then I try to steer it clear of Sunday. I really do. Next question. Do I visit every client's yard and meet the animal before their first service? No, I do not. We get a request in through Jobber. And even if we get a request in via text message or through Facebook or Nextdoor, I always send them my Jobber onboarding link form because I want to get all of the people funneled in a Jobber. There's a couple reasons why. It's our main form of communication. It's easier for me to navigate. Sometimes if I'm communicating with somebody via Messenger, I'll forget, like out of sight, out of mind, and I'm not getting back to them. When they are in Jobber, I check Jobber every day, multiple times a day. It's unhealthy. Be just super transparent about that. But it's the main form of communication. So I know that if I'm having a conversation with somebody in Jobber, that's not going to get forgotten about. If you're communicating with me over on Facebook or Nextdoor app, it might be 2 or 3 weeks before I get back to you. Is that good? No, it's not, but I can only do so much. So basically what happens is I get their information over there. I get their email address, I get their phone number, they fill out the questionnaire, and I get their address. Then I look them up online. I make sure they're in my service area. I go into Google Maps and I measure the areas that they want scooped. I also look to see if their neighborhood has a lot of trees, because I know if it's like a one-time clean or it's an initial clean. If there's a lot of trees, especially during this time of the year, I want to find out if they've done a fall cleanup with their leaves, because are we going to be battling with a ton of leaves in this backyard while we're scooping? Certain areas, I'm just going to be super transparent, do not take care of their properties. Some areas, like I sent my guys out to do this clean in this area that I quit servicing, and I should have known better. I just did not catch the flags. I did not catch the red flags. And I was going to send that one scooper there by himself. Luckily I did not. I sent 2 scoopers there, and they were there over 2 hours, and I'll have May put the screenshot up. They're only halfway done. Like, I'm going to have to send them back later this week or on the weekend to finish up the rest of it. And we think that they're breeders. I thought when I was talking with her that her dog was just having like a litter of puppies, but by the layers and layers and layers of poop, we have come to the conclusion that we believe that they're breeders. And it's really upsetting, because I really do feel like this is animal abuse. This is the tough part about this business sometimes, is we try not to judge. We understand people have things going on, and we want to make people feel comfortable for using our service. But at a certain point, it's animal abuse. So you're breeding these puppies, which is fine. People have their viewpoints on it, but then it's filth. It's just layers and layers and layers of dog poop, and it blows my mind. And we were talking about it this morning, and both of us were very upset. We're very upset about what's going on, and I'm just wondering, like, can anything be done about it? I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I needed to record this episode, but I am going to try to figure something out. But having said that, I'm glad that we're able to get it cleaned up and clean for these poor dogs. Having said that, no, we don't go to the properties. I measure them online. I look at the area, like the city that we're going to be servicing. And because I've been doing this for so long, I do kind of have insight into how these people maintain their properties, what the expectation of the neighborhood is, the yards, all of that stuff. Have I been burned before? Yes. But I can't just go to every house. We get such high volumes. Like, just overnight, I have 7 leads in the queue right now that I need to go. Like, I don't have time to go to those houses and do that. It's not going to happen. It's not a high enough ticket price. And like over the weekend, I had 15 that came in over the weekend because I didn't work over the weekend. So I had to handle all that stuff yesterday. So I do all that, and then we ask pre-qualifying questions. How long has it been since the last cleaning? How many dogs you have? What type of cleaning are you looking for? Does your yard have a bunch of leaves? Is there debris laying around? Is there any special areas that we should pay attention to other than the green space? So if they say, yeah, we got rocky area, we got the flower beds, the dogs poop on the driveway, then we know that's going to be a bit of a more difficult clean than just the green space. So all of that stuff gets taken into consideration when we're sending out the quote, or when I'm sending out the quote, because I'm the only one that's sending out the quotes now. I'm back in charge of sending out the quotes for a short period of time. And then once I kind of get stuff organized again the way that I need it to be, I'll make the changes I need to make. All right, a question is, explain the onboarding process, the intake form, the photo, the questions. A customer sends in a request. All this is done through Jobber. Every part of this. They put a request in, they answer the questions. I'll put a screenshot of the questions. I made it much more simple for Spring Rush. I am gonna add a couple more questions back, but for the sake of Spring Rush, we kind of just needed to make it a little bit more simple. I then go ahead and I look at it. I send them, the customer, the lead, a text message and say, like, instantly. I mean, we're talking within 1 or 2 minutes. I'm sending this out quickly, unless it's the weekend, which I probably should be better about that. Hi, this is Erica, or hi, whatever your name is. Thank you so much for submitting your request for dog poop removal. Before I put your quote together, is there anything specific that I should know about your property or any special questions that you want to know about our service? I send that. That buys me a little bit of time. I'm making that point of contact. I go in, I look up their property, I make sure they're within my service area. If they're not, I send them out a pre-typed up message saying that you are not in our service area and here's 3 referrals. I have 3 companies that I refer out. Boom, send that out, then I archive. If they are in the service area, I measure out their property, I grab the template from Jobber, make any tweaks that need to be made. If it's simple, it's a lot, because a lot of these people, I've been in business for 7 years, so I've serviced, like, I'm getting a lot of people that come back every single year. So I can just pull up the data to see how long it took to do their clean before, so I already kind of know what's going on and if it's the same address. But if it's a new person, that's when I'll ask a couple more questions. I don't want to ask too many questions, because that's when I learned that, like, I lose them via text message, because we do our main form of communication via text. And on the onboarding form, I ask the customers, like, hey, how do you want to be communicated with? Because a lot of people just want to text, because I'm not going to waste my time calling if you don't want me to call you and you're not going to answer the phone, you know? So for the one-time cleans, it's pretty straightforward. Like, at this time of the year, I know it's probably been 5 or 6 months worth of waste. If it's a small yard, I'm going to send you a price for $150. It was at 120, but now it's at 150. If somebody says they want a weekly service, but they don't pick that they need a seasonal clean, I ask, be like, all right, thank you so much. Are we going to need to do a seasonal clean to get the old waste from the built up waste from the winter? And they'll be like, oh no, it's freshly scooped, or we scooped it a couple weeks ago type deal. So that will gauge on what I need to do moving forward. I put the quote together, I send it to them. I then wait a couple minutes. I wait a little bit for them to view it. If they don't respond back, then I send them another message asking them if they have any questions. A lot of times they just say, like, oh, I need to talk to my husband. Then the following day, I will send a follow-up and be like, how did the conversation go? Or something just fun. Like, I just kind of go back and forth. And if you don't know how to overcome object, and if you don't know what to say, take their response, like how they responded back to you, put that in a chat GPT and be like, give me 5 overcoming objections that I can send as a text message to kind of go back and forth with customers. Do that, works pretty well. The customer approves it. I then go ahead and thank them. I get them on the schedule. I ask them where their trash can is located, and then I get them on the schedule. We do have to take a closed gate photo of every property that has a closed gate, so that that form is built in to our job. I set the whole job up in Jobber. That's a whole separate video for another time. I get it on the schedule. It shows on the desktop, and then it also shows over on the technician's app on the phone. Very streamlined, very nice, very organized. I really like it. I do ask if their dog is aggressive with strangers. If it is aggressive with strangers, I put that in the subject line of the visit for the technician. If there's an aggressive dog, we do not go in the backyard unless the homeowner says it's all clear. If they don't respond and we let them know, like, hey, you have an aggressive dog, you have to respond back to us and let us know that we're good to go. We need to know that there's nobody home that's going to accidentally let the dog out, and the person that is home, they know we're there. There's no doggy doors that the dog can get in and out of. I'm very clear about this. And then we have like a 1-strike thing. Like, if a dog gets let out on us, they get and the dog's aggressive, it's a warning. The next time the dog gets let out, we're canceling your service. If your dog bites us or nips us or anything like that, you're done. I'm terminating your service. That's it. I'm not moving forward with you. So when would I do in-person checks? This is going to be larger properties, the commercial properties, HOAs, apartment complex, some type of like a farm. There was this farm that we were asked to go scoop. So I went there in person to really check it out, because I just didn't understand, even from Google, what was really going on. So I went in there, and these are higher dollar. We're talking hundreds of dollars per month. That warrants an in-person thing. So that's when I will go do an in-person assessment. As for meet and greets with the dogs, if you want to do a meet and greet with the dogs, so be it. Go ahead and do it. if you want, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you not to. Go ahead. If you got time in your schedule and you think that's gonna add the personal touch, do it. I just don't. I'm not saying that that's right. I just don't do it. I can't believe I'm 32 minutes in and I haven't mentioned anything about ScoopCon that's going down May 23rd and 24th. I'm super duper excited. And I actually got a question about, do you need to be a member of the Poop Scoop Millionaire community to go to ScoopCon? You do not. Absolutely not. I mean, we would love for you to be a member of the Poop Scoop Millionaire community, but you don't have to be. So if you're like, oh, I'm not really too sure I want to go, go. I'll include my link down below. Click it. Purchase your tickets. Please join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, I mean, with ScoopCon, you're going to have to be there to see what goes down. I mean, it's going to be great. There's going to be a lot of industry leaders there. There's going to be a lot of your peers. There's going to be a lot of education. There's going to be a lot of laughter. There's going to be a lot of community building. And there's going to be some delicious food from what I hear. Deodorizer. So I know I've talked about Deodorizer a lot over the years and people are like, why haven't you done it yet? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm thinking about, I don't know what I'm thinking about. I think about it too much. You know, this is something else I want you guys to think about. If you're the person that just like thinks about stuff to death and you don't execute, stop thinking about it. Like if you're thinking about your business and you haven't started, just start it. And it's easy to say that, but it's very similar to this deodorizer. I buy a new deodorizer every year and I tell myself every year that I'm going to launch this, then I don't ever launch it. So basically what the deodorizer is, first of all, deodorizing and sanitizing are different. If somebody wants you to come sanitize their property because their dog has parvo or worms, I don't know much about that. I don't feel comfortable doing that because like, what if the product doesn't work and the parvo's still there and the dog still gets sick? I don't want to have that liability. As for the deodorizer, Wizzy Wash is a very common product that is used. From my understanding, it does not work on organic material. And so when I say organic, that means like natural grass. It works really well on turf, cement, you know, driveways, patios, kennels, all of that works really, really well for that. And that's going to deodorize. It's going to add a fresh scent. I believe it does say that it offers it does sanitize. I just don't know too much about that. I need to get somebody on the podcast that can talk about this. So if you're listening to the podcast and this is your jam and you do the deodorizing and you do the sanitization, please reach out to me. I'll get you on the podcast so you can properly educate because I can't do it. The products that I do know is the Wizzy Wash. I can't think of another one. Can't think of another one right now. There are some others. And I know that there were some comments that were left, but I cannot remember them off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Why would customers ask for this? Mainly like for the deodorizer, because the dog poop and the pee can really smell, especially if the dog's going like the same spot over and over again. You get that urine ammonia smell, and it's not good. It stinks. So they want you to come in, they want you to deodorize it and make it all smell fresh and good. And I hear it's a really good upsell, and it's very stupid, and it's lazy. It's so lazy on my part for not offering this service. All right, that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Q&A. I like these. Keep the questions coming. If you're over on the podcast and you want to ask a question, zip over to YouTube and leave your questions and comments underneath it, and please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Like what are you waiting for? What's going on? I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And check out one of my other videos that will be linked somewhere here to appease the algorithm and keep this channel going. Talk to you guys later. Bye.